We are?
You good?
Yes, it's us.
You good?
Good morning. Welcome to Tara High School Magnet Forum. I am Carol Ware, your parent liaison. It's my pleasure this morning to introduce the panel for this forum, and they are Mr. Pacheco from IBM, Mr. Michael Green from BRCC, Ms. Catherine McCoy, our Tara SciTech instructor, Mr. Brandon McWhirter, our Tara SciTech instructor, Mr. Ed Williams, our student, and Ms. Ariane Frazier, a parent and teacher, Ms. Latanya Dillon, our counselor, and Ms. Karen Trish, our principal. Again, I am Carol Ware, your moderator for this morning. And on that note, please note that we are practicing safe social distancing, as well as safety and precautions for all our students, as well as our parents and visitors. Begin our first question. Can someone tell me what is so unique about Tara High School?
I think that's you, Mr. Pacheco. You're what's neat about Tara High School SciTech Magnet Program. Can you share that?
Yeah, I think so. Hi, everybody. Good morning. So I think the uniqueness of Tara High School, one of the many, right? And I wouldn't just, I think it'd be unjust to say that we are the only uniqueness of the school, but I think that we are an added value, right, to the program, to our students. And I think IBM just really plays an integral part in this partnership by opening its doors, right? Opening its doors and basically allowing our students to see what life is like, what is attainable to them. And I think it seems so simple because if you really think about it, this is something that's in everybody's backyard. It's just, we're kind of tearing down that fence, and it's just like, hey, look, this is what I have going on over here, what's going on over there. Let's find some synergies, and let's work together to just better the community, better, give our students a better opportunity, create access and equity. So I think that is kind of an all-encompassing way of really saying what is the uniqueness factor to Tara High School.
I think Mr. Michael Green, you can probably piggyback on that.
Absolutely. When we talk about equity and equality, this program is what comes to mind. Because the first thing I can think about is how this program makes it affordable for anyone and everyone to be able to go to college. Because, I can speak from personal experience, college can be expensive.
Amen.
Not everyone has an opportunity coming out of high school to be able to continue their education. So with this program and through the funding of IBM, through the funding of BRCC, the students can now attend college at no cost to them because their tuition is covered. And every book that they're going to need while at BRCC is covered by BRCC. So, Mr. Pacheco talked about equality and equity and just eliminating any gap, any barrier for a student to be able to continue to be successful. Well, that is the definition of this SciTech Magnet program.
As a parent, I can definitely say that is extremely important because, well, let me back up. As a parent who's still paying student loans, that is extremely important because to know that my son is going to leave here debt-free with 2 years of college already accomplished, that's big for me. And to know that you guys are making sure books are being paid for. I mean, Micah, you came here, the first week of school, and you set up a table, and he made sure that the parents were able to get here, the students were able to get here, and they were able to get books that day, and anything else they needed. If they needed cameras for their computers in order to be able to see their teachers, like they made sure the students have everything that they need. I haven't had to come out of pocket for anything. And when I tell you that is a blessing, that is a huge blessing. And to know that, Mr. Pacheco has that partnership with IBM, and I know you're sitting in from Ms. Walsh today, but even then, so I just want to tell you guys thank you from a parent to BRCC and IBM, that you guys are making sure that, my student and all the other students in this P-Tech program are prepared for the real world. That's huge.
Very.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Frazier. And how has the school integrated the magnet component into a virtual learning?
I
like to answer that question.
Thank you.
It's very challenging to talk and teach students virtually. However, I've implemented projects, independent projects that the students have done. They were able to, we did a soap dispenser project, and they were able to assemble the soap dispenser, which was really great because it was something that the whole entire family could use. Has to do with health, has to do with safety. And then they submitted pictures of themselves with their finished product, as well as a writing as to how they felt about it. And I wasn't surprised at the responses because it was somewhat challenging, but also it was something that they could feel success with. So constantly having something that the kids are able to engage in is an awesome opportunity to connect home with school.
Very good. Can someone tell me anything about what would you say to a parent of an IEP 504 plan child who's interested in this program?
I would like to answer that. I do have students that have accommodations, and one thing that I love about this program is that we make sure that things are taken care of on the Terra side and on the BRCC side as well. So accommodations, those things follow a student as well. And I think that that's great because I'm in constant communication with Mr. Green 24/7. I think I call him a little bit too much. But I'm constantly calling him. Also with the Office of Disability Services, I usually provide that information to them in the beginning of the school year just to make sure that the students are comfortable in getting what they need at BRCC as well.
And we've added Mr. Brazelton, so ESL is now covered. So I think we're thinking of everything, everything we possibly can.
And this question I'm going to ask Ms. Trish. Ms. Trish, how has this school managed to keep academics and student engagement high during the pandemic?
Well, everything is really the same except that they're doing it virtually. I mean, our students are present in class every day, some physically and some virtually, and they're getting the same type of instruction. So we've worked very hard, and I think our new theme that we keep saying is different but not less. So our students are working hard virtually. If we find that there's a project or something that our students need, like Micah needed to give them more books, we do a drive-by and they pass and pick it up. If there's a project that Mr. McWhirter or Ms. McCoy has for the students, they're gonna pass and pick it up. If Mr. Landry has them working on something in social studies or a math teacher and they need something, we'll do a drive-by and get it. So we're just leveling the playing field so students who are comfortable coming on campus during the pandemic can do so, but those that prefer to be at home, they're doing it. And this semester, the RCC is 100% virtual. So Mr. Green is following up on the students, Ms. Dillon is, the teachers are, so we're all involved.
Thank you, Ms. Trish. And how about clubs, extracurricular activities? Are these available at our school?
They are. Did you go to practice on Saturday? You can get that information from Ed. Ed is a junior in our program and on the basketball team. So talk about how that works for you, Ed.
Going to school every day and being going to school every day and being involved in sports is not as hard as it may sound because it's just like a regular day, like a regular student. It's nothing different than any other school. You're still doing the same things. So.
Yeah, I think Ed goes to school in the morning, he goes to BRCC, and then he comes for practice. So we're making sure that the students that are participating in the SciTech program are still high school students. I mean, we go and cheer Ed on in basketball, we cheer the ones on in football, we've got dancers, we've got volleyball players. So they're having a full high school experience as well as a great BRCC experience, and that only happens because of the collaboration and because we put the students first.
And by chance, how has the community engagement impacted our school?
That's our community right there. Our community is BRCC and IBM. They're our community, and we do a lot to make sure they're part of every aspect. I mean, sometimes when you have a relationship, you only talk to your other partners once a month or once every couple of months. Sarah's on campus, IBM is on campus. Sarah couldn't be here, there was a death in the family. So IBM is still here.
Okay.
BRCC is here. If they're not talking to Micah, then they're talking to one of the teachers, one of the instructors. So we're all infused together, and we all work together constantly. Let me say this. You can't tell, there are community partners, but you really can't tell the difference between who's Tara and who's not when you're talking in terms of IBM and BRCC. So the professors at BRCC, actually, I want to say, if not more, they really are communicating with those students often. If they notice a student is not logging in or a student is not getting anything completed, they're calling, they're emailing, they're doing all of those things. They're making sure that the students know that they are invested. And I can't speak for any of the non-SciTech BRCC people, but I know for a fact that in terms of the partnership with BRCC and the Terra High students, they're in constant communication with those kids. They're always making sure the students are staying on track. I can't tell the difference between our community partners and, in the Terra High School, family. And as far as IBM, they actually come on campus and do projects. So like the project Ms. McCoy is saying that they do, IBM brings in their own projects that they do here on campus. They're here at least once a month doing projects. The mentors, I can't tell you, I released my child to his IBM mentor. She said that it was hers, and I said, that's fine, as long as you give him that good job. So, they have made me as a parent feel like, hey, we're community partners, but we're still part of the Terra High School family.
And I think one of the clubs actually that Mr. McWhorter likes best is Mr. McWhorter is into coding.
Yes.
That's his thing. Talk a little bit about
I
that.
love coding. I think coding, I'll take that back. I know coding is the next way. Coding is in everything that we do, right? We have kids who love gaming, we have kids who love computers. Just watch the TV. I'm trying to get my 4-year-old into coding now. Right? Because code is everything.
We're still at school.
Yeah.
The students must understand, for those who are interested, that play the Fortnite. How does Fortnite operate? How does this guy run? How does he jump? How does he skip? So coding is in everything that we do. Coding is in everything that they do. Since it's a technology-based program, the kids love technology. It is everything. So if you want your kid to know more about coding, step into the next wave, this is the program.
So, why would you, a parent who's on the fence, select this school as your final choice?
Just get off the fence. Just get off the fence. Just come on over.
Why?
Dive in,
Parents
because
come in daily,
let me
they're
tell
on
you,
the fence,
right,
why would they choose
exactly.
Tara Magnet?
People have the impression that, they see things that happen in social media, on the internet, with schools. It's absolutely false. I as a parent want to change the narrative of what people think of this school. What people think of, BRCC, what people think of the narrative of this partnership that's happening. I want to change the narrative of that, because my child wouldn't be here if I didn't feel that he was safe. My child wouldn't be going to BRCC every day if I didn't feel like he was safe. And I know, like I said, as a parent who's on the fence about your child going to a 2-year university and high school at the same time and getting a degree, then switching over and having a future job, hopefully with IBM, I don't see why they would be on the fence. The partnerships, the family orientation that is happening here, all of that, there should be no reason why it's a hesitation of why you should want your child in this program.
And let me just say this, $900. When my daughter went to ULM to major in toxicology, her very first semester, after we did fees and room and board and all of that, her books cost $900. That fee is still in my head. And she's 27 now, so I can get over it, I guess. But When you talk about a fence, I need a parent to think of $900. I need you to think of books. I need you to think of notebooks. I need you to think of all of the things that you have to do to help your son and daughter get a degree that will not guarantee or give them an edge on getting a job. Because I remember freshman seminar for her when the parents had to meet, and they asked the question, why do you go to college? And like nobody was raising their hand. So I finally did, because I'm sort of a nerd, and I said, you go to college to get a job. And she said, absolutely right. So if the purpose of college is to get a job so that you can be gainfully employed and self-sufficient, that's what we're doing here. Without the $900. Without the $900.
Those extra 000s
Yes.
that I keep getting hit with from the student loan. I'm sorry, I gotta keep
Don't
mentioning
talk
that.
Don't talk
The no
about it.
student loan part.
Right.
Very good. I am trying to find out, are there any extra curricula in the afternoon, after school activities that these children have an option
Oh, yeah.
on our campus?
That's what I talked about. We've got basketball, volleyball, everything that Tara offers, because here's the deal. When we went to IBM and we originally talked about this and we all met in New York, right? One of the things they said was to make sure that high school students got a full high school life, and we do that. So BRCC classes do not extend after school hours. So they can come right back and go to whatever practice or participate in every other thing they want. So that's absolutely not a problem.
We also work in tutoring as well. I know BRCC mentioned that they do have their free tutoring as well. Tara also has free tutoring. So we're trying to make sure that we have all of our bases covered, I should say.
I'm gonna ask Mr. Williams, what do you like most about this school?
It's different because most schools and most students don't get the experience that we get. They don't get to go to college every day or, you know, go to IBM, and they don't get the experience that we get.
Very
Yeah.
good.
I don't think, unfortunately though, probably one of the downsides, they also don't get to get their principal in their business. I'm a pretty hands-on person, and I know my sci-tech kids, if BRCC calls or somebody calls, they know we're going in the room to have a meeting. You know, their success is our success.
Absolutely.
So they get a lot of administrators and a lot of teachers, and they have a lot of cheerleaders.
Yes.
You know, so we do a lot of cheering for them because we know it's difficult. College is difficult to only be a college student.
Right.
High school is difficult to only be a high school student. So to be both at 14, 15, 16, and 17 is something, and we really try very hard to make sure they don't fall. And by the way, I think Ed might be number 1 or number 2 in his class. So
Yes, he
let me
is.
put that.
So, Ms. Frazier, what were you actually looking for in a school that you were able to find here?
Someone asked me that, and then I turned around and asked my child that because it wasn't about what I wanted. I absolutely love the fact that he gets the credit from BRCC. I love the fact that he has the partnership with IBM, but I can love it all I want because I wish it was available when I was in school. But it's about what he wanted.
Okay.
It was about what he wanted as a student. And I needed to make sure that I wasn't picking for him, that I was allowing him to pick for himself. And that was a big deal for me. It was to make sure that we had the discussion, and I asked him, what do you want to do? If you want to come, if you want to be a part of it. And he was like, I really do. I want to be a part of it. I think it's a cool opportunity.
Thank you. So do we have final words that we can get? Yes,
I do.
ma'am.
I want to add one thing. As a counselor for sci-tech students, I work really close with you all. And my job as a counselor is just to make sure that I allow the students to know that they do have a future.
Amen.
And it's rewarding to be the counselor, to not only prepare them for college, but to prepare them for a career. So it's a great experience, especially with my two 12th graders that are graduating, because I remember when they started from the beginning.
Yes.
I remember whenever this program was new. I remember when a lot of people did not know anything about the program, and I remember those students were willing to go to BRCC, take their courses at Terra, and they were okay.
Yeah.
So anytime my students are struggling, I always bring them back to what my 12th graders went through. So, and it shows my students that you can do absolutely anything, and I think that is what this program does for our kids. It shows you that you can be prepared for college and you can be prepared for a career.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to tack on to that real quick if I could. There's actually two things that I wanted to bring up. Number one, Ms. Frazier, you mentioned something that I think really hit home, especially with we have the same experience in Austin, where you said you wanted to change the narrative, and you want to help change the narrative, right, for Terra, and that's the exact same thing, and I think that that can be done through partnerships, right? That can be done through strength in numbers, right? And I think all of us just being here today, this morning, speaks to that, right? And it shows that we're all in lockstep and we're all wanting to move in that same direction. And so that's really refreshing and empowering to see. And then the second thing that I wanted, and the council, I think, just touched on it again, but somebody earlier mentioned the fact that we want to recognize the students. Right, again, let's not lose sight of the fact that these are 14, 15, 16-year-olds taking on high school, taking on college, and their extracurriculars, plus whatever else they have going on in life, right? And at home, whatever it may be, whatever duties they have, responsibilities, chores, etc. They're doing so many things, and I think that, you know, going back to the very first question of what differentiates what we have here at Terra is the simple fact that I'm sure there are partnerships out there between high schools and colleges, but are they as robust as this? Are they as complete as this? You know, do they provide the wraparound services? And I think from IBM's standpoint, and this is a personal belief of mine, we need to recognize the students at all times. These students, we cannot, as adults, lose sight of the fact of what they're accomplishing. And we got to continue to reward them, right? To keep them going, to keep them motivated, because it's easy for us to, we've been through it, as Ms. Frazier has, and I think a lot of us here have attested to it, right? Like, we've been through it, we know why we're going through this struggle of college and trying to get our degree in order to end up with a career, a job and a career. They're not there yet. We're if you were kind of like way closer to the finish line, they're just starting. So for them, it's still kind of a nebulous. It's still kind of like, okay, my parents are telling me, you know, my counselor, my teacher, people are telling me, and they're pointing in that direction. But why? So let's keep them motivated. Let's keep showing them why. Let's keep recognizing what it is that they're doing. I think that is huge, and so I really thank you guys for bringing that up.
So, if you want to be a part of this, when the portal opens, come join us. Come join this winning team. Terra, BRCC, and IBM. We're waiting for you. Thank you so much. Thank you.